touch your dick a little bit.
A pussy.
Can I
A
see
pussy.
the
I mean
The great. They want to see
Kind of
the
dick is
dick.
that?
Who wants to see the dick?
You know, when
We
trying
make
to-
out.
So it just depends on.
But I want to go back to the
Right,
whole
so-
thing of like friends before the relationship and, how does that
That's very
how does that
complicated.
translate? But it happens so many
Oh
times.
man, I've that's so complicated, and a lot of people. I've met a lot of people, and it's happened to me, where you have best friends, people you consider your best friends, people you consider, like your ride or dies, and then you find that little special someone, and next you know, you gotta kind of look at that best friend and be like, you know what, this ain't gonna work out, bro. Like, it's
So it's kind of like a little fucked up kind of thing, because it's like
I know it's bros before hoes, but
no, but I mean
It's-
besides that, it's like this was somebody who was your friend who y'all were going,
ride or die.
whatever, and then somebody else come in the picture and then you just drop the friend like that. It's kind of messed up.
I mean, it doesn't mean
But
you have to
then-
drop the friend, but
No,
somehow if
but-
that friend interrupts the relationship, I think it's
Right.
like there needs
So
to
I
be some
think it's
kind
a
of
couple
conversation.
of things that happen, right? Is that one, the person who you're now dating might open up your eyes to something that you might not have been able to see with that friend, quote, quote, the person who was your friend. And now that person just has opened up your eyes a little bit to let you see, like, this is what was really going on. Because a lot of times we turn a blind eye to the things that our friends do. You're a little bit more
I
understanding.
think that could work both ways, though.
Right.
I think your friend can turn you on to something that they see your mate doing
Right.
that you may not realize they're doing.
No, but I'm talking about when the dynamics change. When you're best friends with somebody and then someone comes into the picture in you're in a relationship with, and then you change.
So I think for this scenario, we want to be specific as to the mate that you met or with mean no harm to you. They're the perfect person for you. You're thinking about getting married with this person. This person is like the person you want to have kids with or just spend the rest of your life with. They're perfect in every scenario. And they may not be perfect in reality to other people, but they make you happy. They're not cheating on you. There's nothing odd going on. But for whatever reason, there's some tension with your friends that you've had before.
Now it's like a new person in a way. So you're not going to have time for your friend as much anymore.
So
And then more so if they don't have somebody who they can like share their time with.
So I want to share my story.
Share your story.
When it happened to me. So when I first met you, I had a best friend. And
You had a friend.
I had a best friend.
He wasn't no best.
He was my best friend. We went to high school together, and we pretty much did everything together. Like for the most part, we hung out a lot. We did everything together. So when we met, I noticed, and you started pointing out certain qualities of him that made me start looking at him differently. And then I started noticing him acting a particular way towards you. And then he would tell me certain things that really put you in a negative light. So there was this like triangle of like interaction, like to a certain point, it got me angry because it's like, why does this need to be a conversation to begin with? Like a lot of time when you used to talk to me about him, you used to get me angry with like, he has nothing to do with you. I'm in a relationship with you. Ignore him.
Well, he was quite annoying though, because it always felt like this need to prove something. I don't know if it was a matter of personalities didn't really mesh well. So me being a very strong, outspoken kind of person, and we'll probably go head to head with you when you're talking a bunch of shit. I'm gonna point it out, and then you feeling the need to like come back with a rebuttal to show that you're really not that dumb or anything. But what you're saying is kind of dumb. And then that's when you'll have that back and forth. And so there was a lot of that in terms of disagreements and conversations not really being that great. It would be awkward.
Right. So I
Um,
think after a while, when communications between me and my best friend started kind of like decreasing,
Stop.
decreasing. Well, it wasn't like a sudden drop and stop. It started decreasing. My motivation to continue that relationship and keep trying to bring it up kind of didn't wasn't there anymore.
So do you feel like you were trying to you had to have motivation most of the time to try to like maintain the friendship, like even before I came in the picture?
No, I think it was pretty even before you came in a relationship. I think we pretty much hung out with each other mutually. Yeah, I don't remember a lot of the details, but I think it was a pretty mutual between us that we kind of would look for each other. We used to walk to school, walk back to school. You know what I mean? So we used to look for each other.
So I'm just wondering, like, what changed? I mean, I know
again, there's a difference. I think is what you relate to is the time. I didn't spend that much time with him because I was spending all my time with you. So,
but I remember many times it was still that, you know, where he would be there even though we were hanging out. So it didn't really quite stop.
Right. It was a little awkward at times.
Yeah. But I think too, maybe what changed was more so like me just pointing out a couple of things of like what he was doing that was like, what are you doing? That maybe kind of shed some light on what that friendship really was and what it looked like.
And I had to make a decision on my for myself. I was like, you know, he's my best friend, but at the end of the day, you know, I potentially love this woman. I potentially, you know, really want to date her.
You really want to boink her.
I really want to boink her.
So he was like, all right, nigga, those.
You know, if he's my true friend, then he'll let me go my way, do my thing. And if my relationship with him doesn't work out, with her doesn't work out, then as a friend, you should be okay with that. You should be there.
Yeah.
And I think one of the times that we've had a rocky situation, he wasn't there. He wasn't available. And that's when I started realizing, like, oh, this is one way now. Something happened. Now the relationship is one way. So when we settled our issues, at that point, there was no more bench friend. There was no friendship at that point. It was just more like mutual knowledge of each other kind of situation. Like we got downgraded to like acquaintances. Like
not even that.
We would just talk in passing at times. And somehow after a while, we just stopped looking for each other. We just stopped talking altogether. And even years after, where I kind of thought about him, and I was like, "Yo, let me just reach out to him. Maybe he still lives there." And it was nothing. Like there was no desire whatsoever. And you know, thinking back to it, it does make me a little sad because it's like, damn, I wonder what he's up to. I wonder he's all right. I wonder, you know, but
just a hater. That's what he was.
Whatever.
Low key hater.
Whatever.
That's what it was.
I mean,
and so it was just all of that coming to light that, because once again, do you have
any experiences that happened?
But once again, you don't. If the friendship is really the friendship, no matter what, like, we understand that as time passes, people grow apart, you do different things. But I feel like at any moment, like because I have a lot of people who I'm really close with, and then as time passes, you grow apart because everybody's doing different things now. And sometimes you just can't really fit the old ways in with this new person that you're with and whatnot. And what you're trying to create with your partner, it might not work. And then you have situations where it does. Right. Like, you can keep the same friends. They have their own thing going on. They recognize that, like, okay, we need our space. But at any time, if I call, you'll still be there. It'll still be like nothing changed. Nothing happened. And so you'll have those situations. When you recognize that things have changed drastically. Like, we don't talk every day on the phone anymore.
But that's okay.
But when we do pick up the phone and call, it's right back to the same old sitting on the toilet talking for hours about nothing.
I don't talk to no one on the toilet.
I do.
Yeah, they're gonna hear my fart.
Toilet Chronicles. But yeah,
you said toilet
Chronicles.
I heard you said toilet grumbles.
No, that too.
And so I want to be specific to this So I lost a best friend during high school, but he wasn't my only best friend, and I have others, and one of my best friends, despite our relationship, was 100% supportive. He literally had no friction whatsoever, except for that one MySpace song.
Please don't.
uh, that we've had plenty of conversation about, but it's always been a joke. But we've always had a good relationship, and
And
whenever
I
he
think,
was in the relationship, whenever he was witness to the relationship, there was never any friction whatsoever.
you know, and I would say too, even though there've been times where it was like disagreements, it wasn't always like, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. But I think we got along much better because we had a commonality of being
I
Caribbean.
mean, you guys say that, but
I really think it had a lot to do with it. So I don't know. We got each other. It was under, you know,
he
and
knew,
also besides the fact that like I don't think there was anything to be for him to be jealous about or insecure about. You know what I mean? I think with the other one there was hate. There was hate.
I mean, that might
There
have
was some
been.
hating.
That
So
might have been,
that
yeah.
wasn't that was your friend to hang around to try to see like, well, I don't even want to say try to see what he can get from you, but you'll always find that you'll have somebody like that who they're around because they benefit more from the
Right.
situation.
Right. And and to this day we're still friends. You know him, we hang around all the time. He's now he has his life put together basically, and we still hang around, and once again it's like what you said. Even when we don't talk for months because we're busy working, we're doing our grinding, we're doing everything that we need to do.
Grinding on butts.
Grinding. We pretty much we do remember like, oh, let me hit up.
And it's
And
you
it's
know,
right back to the
everything
beginning.
is just regular. It's just there's no feelings. There's no
Well, it's not that there's no feelings.
no,
It's
there's
that
no hard feelings. You understand that, like,
yeah.
yo, shit is busy. All right, let's forget
I
about
mean, I
all
get
of
a little
that.
jealous.
Let's forget about all of that. Whatever was going
Like,
on.
it's my boo thing.
Let's go do something now. Like, how can we make it work? Let's correct it. You know. But
And you make a lot of jokes about that too.
that's your boo thing. Whatever.
That's my boo thing.
That's fine. You can have that one boo thing. But me personally, I have a lot of thoughts when it comes to what a social life would look like outside of a relationship, especially when it's someone who
Have you accepted my friend? In your opinion?
yeah.
That was a weird question.
Yeah, it was. Because if we're saying that he,
I guess
is
it's like,
someone when we hang out, it's all copacetic.
did you find
like,
it hard? Did you find it hard?
not with
accepting-
him. Not with him.
Well, no, I know. I'm just saying
I've
in general. It's a whole
accepted him.
package. No, let's not do that. He did that one joke that one time. I didn't like that.
Turn off the lights.
And then that's why he brought me those drinks to begin with. I'm not gonna get into that detail. I'm saying, did you find it hard accepting, not just him, but then the bad one, the good one, and maybe some of the extra ones
Oh,
that
yeah.
come around?
Yeah. Again, I think it all boils down to the personalities. Because I might also want to think about, okay, besides, that's your friends before the relationship, would I be cool with this person if they didn't come through you? And probably not. That's probably why we didn't really get along. Because you had other friends who I didn't really consider them friends either. They were more like haters as well.
I don't.
And so with that, when you think about, can you always be accepting of the friends that come with your mate? No, you can't. Do I want
disagree
to
with
be
you.
open-minded with it? It depends, because if that person does not recognize, and this is when you do
Why
the
you
clap,
clapping?
because
Why
this
you
is when
clapping?
it gets serious. You gotta clap in between syllables. If that person does not recognize that you're in a relationship now and you're trying to build something and you're trying to live your life, live your best life with that person, and they're trying to get in the way and they're not being welcoming, I might want to look at you sideways and wonder what's really going on. Either you like the person,
I'm looking at her sideways.
either you like the person, you want them for yourself, or you're a hater.
Hey,
and you can't be happy for what that they're moving on and doing something else.
I don't remember. I know I have because I am who I am. I probably had some trouble getting along with some of your friends, but I don't remember ever like really having a lot of issues with your friends. I was more like, yeah, okay. I mean, and maybe you can fill into this, maybe some from your memory, but I don't remember having a lot of friction with your friends.
I would say the same. It wasn't a lot of friction with friends. So you gonna talk about you don't? No. I'm saying that I don't remember you having friction with my friends. I would say, yeah, it might have been like one or two situations where maybe they looked at you sideways, then you had an issue with them. And whatever that was about, whether it was being, new person, new kid on the block.
That back. I remember now. It was one person of your friends that to this day, if you ever mention their name, I get real mad.
Right.
And it was because of the situation that happened that I felt it was like completely disrespectful towards me and towards us as a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't because, and that's a direct.
Well, I really think it was a little bit. I mean, again,
you defend him to the grave.
Hold on. So it's just a matter of, I guess, how you look at things. And me in my bubble, I look at things some way, and you in your head, in your bubble, you look at it another way too. And I'm not gonna take that away. Whatever. We always agree to disagree.
I think we should share the situation.
No.
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 You don't want them.
No.
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 Because it doesn't really make sense.
No.
On the other side, you had this one special friend that was just so special. Oh Lord, what a special one that was.
Let's not go into too much detail.
Well, we're not going details like that, but it's back again. Is that idea of just recognizing the boundaries that you need not to cross when you see somebody's in a relationship. And I think people's pride get too much in the way that you just like, oh, before he or she came in the picture, it was like, it was us. Now all of a sudden you want to be acting brand new because she here like,
like, yeah,
don't let me start clapping.
You're not property. Your time and your attention is not property. Like, you give your time and attention to whoever you want to give. If it's someone new in the picture and you like them more, that's nothing wrong with that. And I think your friends should not be angry at the fact that you're doing that. Now,
well, in the situation with that friend, your special one, she liked you.
I guess.
But the feelings wasn't the same. And for whatever reason, but I think you kind of led her on, reflecting back.
I mean, I was a social butterfly.
Yeah. And so that's what I was talking about in how much you've changed in that regard. So not that you meant to do anything that was sexual in any nature, but just acting like the cool guy.
Right.
And the way you interact, maybe the way it made them feel special, so they felt like, okay, this is what I need to do to keep that attention on me. And so maybe that's why she was a strange case in the way that she was. But
I mean, I think I handled that.
Yeah, very
poorly. I was immature back then, and I just handled the whole situation terribly.
I also think that in your head, you didn't think it was anything significant. Like, you couldn't see the point and what was wrong with it.
I think you've mentioned this a lot of times before, though. Mm-hmm. I think I should have saw this coming. like miles away, and I should
Are you
have.
drooling over there?
I'm not drilling.
He was like,
Uh,
did it
maybe I have extra less salivation in my mouth.
Mm-hmm.
I think that I just when you're immature and you're making immature decisions, you tend not to see the consequences of your actions until later on, and I kind of cringe when every time you bring it up. I always cringe because it's like I know I was so stupid. Like, stop mentioning that. Like
you know how stupid he knew he was. And then thinking back at this, that he just thinks about the fact that you could have not had me.
What do you mean not had you?
It could have gone so bad that I could have just been like, you know what, fuck this shit. Y'all stay with each other. And maybe actually it wouldn't have been that
And
bad.
that happens a lot. That happens to a lot of relationships.
Maybe that wouldn't have been that bad because maybe you would have ended up dating her.
Well, no, I'm just saying in general, like not even with that specific case, but just in case with friends in general. Like, there's a lot of times where a guy or girl will break up with that significant other because they want to keep their friends, because they value their friendships more, and you kind of lose the opportunity of like finding that.
But I mean, sometimes,
and you still end up stop being friends with that person after a year.
You may or may not, because sometimes your friend might have saved you from a horrible
That's true.
relationship.
I have tried single-handedly to save a lot of friends from disasters.
Right.
I'm like, do not get in a relationship with that woman. Or,
right.
like, do not do that. And they'll be like, I'm still going to do it. And it's going to be like, next thing you know, 3 months later, oh, hell breaks loose.
Right. So sometimes it might work out in your favor that your friend, again,
and
I'm guessing
in that
you have
situation,
to.
I could be the hater, though. I could be looked at as the hater by
Right.
telling them to do that.
But I guess it's all about assessment. And when you look at it, you know, what do you feel is the best course of action? And it may not be the best course of action because you may have lost out on an opportunity and whatnot. But I guess you never know until you go through the motion of things. So
I mean, it's one of the things people learn based on the mistakes that they make in life.
You could even look back and say, well, maybe we overreacted a little bit with her. And maybe her actions was with your friend, your strange one.
We still talking about that? Jesus.
No, I'm just saying, like,
Jesus.
you know, because I like to not only think about things one-sided. I like to put myself on the other side and see, okay, well, maybe as a result of me giving this person attitude, you know, this is why they reacted this way to me and then gave me this. So sometimes you may have that. And just thinking back at it, maybe she just felt like so attacked that was her response. And so that's why you had the situation that you did have. And maybe it could have turned out a little better. But I think she liked you anyway.
I think I'm just to
blame.
Out. I'm just think I'm to blame in this whole situation.
Maybe everybody was to blame. You live and you learn.
I think I'll be the first one in this specific situation that I would take cold-heartedly the blame of, like,
I mean, that's so cool.
I messed up.
To admit that, that's so cool to admit that.
But you do make sure you remind me every single time.
Every single time.
It's like on an anniversary clock. Like,
it's so funny because now I can look back at it and laugh at it and tease you about it.
And go, ding!
And even if I bring it up, I'm not trying to bring it up to be like, oh, look what you did. You could have. It's more funny to me, like, remember this? Dancing in Coney Island?
Okay, so moving on.
Yes,
because this is about to turn into a one-sided conversation.
Being that social butterfly while being in your committed relationship, it's hard. It's hard unless you determine right from the beginning, like we always say every time about just communication and just.
So, I want to say something. I think that every relationship, both people, at some level, should have a social life. Your whole life should not be your partner. I'll say that hands down in any relationship. That should not be the situation, because the last thing you want to do, you don't want to feel isolated. You don't want to feel like you don't have no one to talk to other than your partner. If your partner is at work and they can't talk to you, you don't want to be blowing up their phones because you have
So
no
when
one
you
else to
look
talk
at
to.
it like that, I guess you can say it's not extremely healthy. But when I look at it from the point of view
It's a
of
balance.
right, to have a balance. So it may not be 100% healthy to just have your focus solely on your partner, but I think that when you create a dynamic of, this is the person you're married to, you have kids, yeah, I would put my focus into my family. And if that is what comprises my family, I'm going to put all my eggs in that basket because they're going to come first in making sure that they're okay. Yes, I can have friends and stuff outside of it to keep my sanity and to make sure that I'm balanced too and practicing self-care so I can have a good time. But I think ultimately my family is still going to come first. So I'm not going to choose going to hang out over taking care of the home.
So with the balance that I
so-
like, the balance that I enjoy and like is that the person in the relationship has some kind of hobby that's tied to their social life. It's giveaway time. For the second task of our giveaway, you must answer the following question. Around what timestamp do I, Manny, drool in this episode? Please post your answers on our Facebook or Instagram page under the Social Butterfly Part 2 post. And like always, thank you for participating and stay tuned to next week's episode and clue.
It just sounds like you want an excuse for when you want to be on the computer all day.
Shut up.
That your partner
So, okay.
also has something to do so
let's-
that you could stay on the computer all day.
No, that has nothing to do with it.
It has all of
Because
to do
sometimes
with
I
it.
make you join in that hobby that I do. So sometimes I make you join them and
Bleh.
I invite you in. And a lot of my friends welcome you.
Bleh.
So it's not like it's you're completely isolated. What I'm saying is that it's not something, but that activity is not something that you want to do. It's something that I do and I like to do. And for those people who are wondering what the hell is this activity,
It doesn't matter what the activity is. It's a secret. But
I mean, it's not that secret.
yeah, because I already mentioned being on the computer.
Yeah, but I usually play video games online, or if I'm playing video games, or every now and then I'll dabble in Dungeons and Dragons. For those of you who know what that is, so stuff like that takes time and it takes attention for me to do away from you. But again, those friendships are based on that hobby of doing. I'm not going to the club. I'm not going. So my hobbies are something that you have accepted, and I have friends attached to those hobbies.
But at the same time, don't excuse the fact that you may not be outside
Oh no, don't get
doing
me
something
wrong.
that I don't know what you're doing
Right.
and interacting with people as being much interacting with people inappropriately is being much different than being consumed at home with something that doesn't involve your partner, because
think,
at the
yeah,
same
you're right.
time
Yeah,
you're still not giving that person the
If I
attention.
play
And
video games for
we
6
all want
hours,
attention.
If I play video games for 6 hours straight, it's the same as me going to the club for 2 hours.
Like, I see you sitting here and I know what you're doing, but then if you're not engaging with me,
Right.
then of course I'm gonna feel lonely.
Okay. And that's specific if you live together with the significant other.
Mhm.
Imagine if you don't live with them.
Right.
And 6 hours of your day you're spending playing video game. What are you doing? When are you meeting? When are you hanging
But then
out?
at the same time, this is when a person might say, hey, so if he's busy doing something, then you should busy yourself doing something, because you guys need time away from each other. And I get that happens, but at a certain time you still need to draw a line, because then it's just too much time being spent on,
Right. If all we're doing is you doing your thing and I'm doing my thing,
then there's no relationship there either.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
a balance is, I mean, if anything is more important than anything else, it's just creating that balance. And of course, always being able to communicate that and just being able to say, even if you have to plan,
Nah, I don't like planning.
So not that it has to become robotic and be like, okay, 2:30, we will meet in bedroom and boing, boing, boing. Not like that.
That's a terrible robot.
But I'm just saying that, the conversation, saying something. Because there are times when I feel like I want to communicate a certain thing to you, but I can't because
You just end up yelling.
yeah. You just end up yelling, and then I can't really communicate effectively to say what's bothering me. It's not a matter of that, oh, you're not spending time, I feel lonely, but, you know, something else or whatever. But to wrap it up.
I think we don't have nothing else to say
Oh, God.
about this topic.
To wrap it up, again, finding a balance between
Social life
and your life
and find appropriate to the relationship
yeah
forms of social life.
yeah
Not everything is the same. Just because your last significant other was okay with you going to the club, don't mean that the new significant other will be okay with that.
definitely finding appropriate and balanced
Social life,
what is it?
Activity.
Something before the social life,
activity, and friends that are
balanced
compatible
and
with your
appropriate
relationship.
ways to you know, being inclusive.
And I think also like having friends that are not completely compatible, but have some kind of understanding of you and your
They're
relationship.
relatable to you in your relationship, because let's face it, you as a married couple, you're not really going to be able to stay
Friends with that.
friends with the
thought friend.
single thought person, because what
They
they
start making a
do
move
is
in your
just
marriage
not
guy,
going
your marriage
to
person.
translate the same
They start making a move in your
unless
significant
like
other.
that person what
They start making a move in your significant other. Like, I like
yeah,
how you,
that's true
I
too.
like how you cut that beef.
Unless-
You want to cut my beef?
Cut it with your mouth.
You want to
Um,
tenderize it with your hammer of justice?
What, your hand, like a hand job?
No, hammer of justice. Your penis.
Oh, not your hand.
You
Like,
tenderize it. Pop, 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 pop.
what if I tenderize with the hand, like up and down?
That's how you tenderize.
Maybe it is. It gets tender after a while if you. Yeah. So, finding and creating
Have you ever tenderized
that,
me?
finding and creating that balance and making sure that it's appropriate to the relationship, and of course always being able to communicate that amongst each other, what that looks like is, if anything you could take away from this episode, is just that if you guys are okay with going to the club and shaking your tail feather on a stick that gets hard, go
Jalapeno
ahead
on a
and do
stick.
that. Do that if that's okay. But definitely recognizing, or even being able to have that conversation with your partner to say, are you okay with this? Are you fine with the fact that like this person may call me after a certain hour, or this is my friend and whatever. Because even if the person doesn't say anything and continue to let you do it, it doesn't mean that they're okay with it. So
I one aspect I don't think that we really touched on, which I think we should talk about in a different episode, is that the aspect of dating and dating other people who are dating. Oh, wait, no, I just messed that up in my head.
yeah, because my mind is
Dating
blown right
and then
now.
hanging out with other people who are also dating. So like, we're married and we're hanging out with another married couple.
Right.
And that dynamic of what happens when you start kind of comparing yourselves and like,
Oh yeah.
you start one upping each other.
Yeah.
and
Competition. and
Yeah. So that's a whole different aspect of social life. I think that we'll touch on a different topic,
Yeah.
because that's a very big thing that happens whenever you're in a relationship, and then
That's a big thing that happens. Period.
you have a circle of people you hang out with. They're all in a relationship. We all like compete, and it's just like, okay, who does better sex? Who's better at sex? Who's doing this?
I don't think they're really comparing who's
I'm
having
just
better
saying.
sex.
I'm just throwing things out there.
But anyway,
Who got the better interaction?
what do you-
Who's more lovey-dovey?
yeah. So what would you say is the takeaway
For this
from
episode?
this episode for you?
I said it already. I'd say,
Oh, tenderize the meat.
yeah, find and tenderize me, which is justice, hammer of justice.
Right. Okay.
But just once again, finding the balance, finding the appropriate social interaction outside of your relationship that is agreed upon both people. That way, there's no friction. There's no problem.
We like friction.
I'm just saying, you don't want that kind of
pelvic
friction.
friction.
You don't want that. You don't want to come home drunk one time and then you come home and your lady or your guy is like, "What you doing? You didn't go out with me. Oh, this is what you do all the time. You was sucking on that.
You was
and
tenderizing meat
you was tenderizing
with your hammer
me.
of justice.
Like, what's wrong with you? Like, I was here worried about you. You don't want that kind of friction. You don't. I don't think anyone does. So just, but I think it's very important to really search social interactions and be social as possible because you don't want to feel isolated. You don't want to be 40 and turn around like you have no friend. If you get a flat tire, you got to be able to call someone.
Call AAA or Geico or whoever your
I'm just saying, you really need that
is.
friend to be like,
Because
yo,
your friend
help
going
me
to be
out.
all the way over there.
You got to have a body. You got to have a friend, but yo, I got to have a body. Like,
You
who am I
call
gonna
your
talk to?
mate. That's the one who you want to call. That's
But
going
what
to
if
be,
they're
you
not
need
available?
them ride or die.
What
What if your friend is not
What
available?
if they're afraid of blood?
Oh, Lord.
Okay, you gotta have a friend who's not afraid of blood, who you can call like, yo, I need to have a body.
Anyway, we will not
I
be
just want to say
hiding.
shout out to all our friends, loved ones, family who has listened to our podcast. We see you guys. We see you guys listening to our podcast. Thank you so much. Yeah, shout out to y'all.
Thank you for following us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, listening on the website, listening on the other
And whoever's listening on Spotify, thank you. I don't know who's listening on Spotify,
and
but
YouTube.
yeah.
Shout out to all the listeners and everybody who's, participating in this movement that we want to have with Flatulent Thoughts, a podcast.
This friction movement.
This friction, meat tenderizing hammer of hands.
Hammer of the hands? What? Justice, hammer of justice.
Hammer
right.
of justice. But thank you everybody for listening and supporting us thus far. We really appreciate it.
And this is like our 9th episode. I forgot. 9th or 8th? 9th. So, I mean, we've kind of long way. I think we got a even longer road ahead of us.
Yeah, just 9 in.
I know, 9 in. It feels like we started months ago.
Well, they're 9 long episodes, so.
I know what else is long. Not by dick. I'm just saying. I know what else is
long. Oh, Lord. Anyway, so thank you for listening. Please continue to comment, like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff on all our platforms. Visit the website at www.flatulentthoughts.com. Like us on Instagram. Follow us on Instagram. Tell your friends. Tell your mom. Tell your sister. Tell your brother. Tell your cousin. Tell your auntie. Tell your uncle. Tell your grandma. Tell your everybody.
Yeah, I mean, the more people know about it, the better. It helps us. It helps us get those views, those likes, those subscriptions. It helps us, do bigger and better things. The more audience we reach, the more we'll be able to do. And that's pretty much it. I think that's it, right? I think we should cut it.
Yes.
I think you need to cut it.
Anyway, see you later. Bye.
Peace.